Okay, so I have invited 3 of the beneficiaries from the program who are going to be sharing about their journey and their experience with the GPF as a partner on some of the projects that they are doing. And I'm going to allow them to share the journey, the challenges, praises where there's anything to praise. And I will allow questions at the end of the session. So I just wanted to recap what products are offered or what programs are offered by the GPF. The GPF has 5 programs that are available for funding. One is called the Empowerment Entrepreneur Project Fund. Now, this one is aimed at those entities that are 100% HDI shareholding or owned, and it could be new developments. So if you fall in that category and you want to deliver affordable rental housing, this is an opportunity for you. There is also the Rental Housing Fund, which we have touched on earlier. It is about supporting the equity raising aspect of rental housing projects in the affordable housing space. There's also the Social Housing Fund, which quite self-explanatory means the products that is offered by SHRA in social housing, they complement that and help you raise the outstanding amount, which is normally in the equity form. There's also the Student Accommodation Fund, which looks at projects that are in student accommodation. And lastly, we heard about the Kasi for Real Fund. Now, this is going to be focusing on housing in the Gauteng townships. So we've heard a lot about what is available to us, what the programs try to achieve, and who they're trying to target. And what we can assess from the whole from the whole event is that GPF is looking at an inclusionary process, promoting the participation of underrepresented segments in the property sector. What is missing is the participation from us as developers, us as funders, to complement what is on the table. I would like to encourage developers or anyone sitting amongst us who qualifies for any of these programs to make use of these spaces, make use of these opportunities, particularly women, youth, and those living with disabilities. Without any further delay, I am now going to invite Mabana Makhakhe to tell us a little bit about her experience in the project and the program that she is a part of. Can we give her a round of applause? You can stand.
I'm not sure which is better, sitting or standing. Thank you so much to the GPF for inviting us. My name is Mabana Makhakhe, she said, from Phahamo Property Group. Phahamo Property Group is a company that is formed by 2 Black ladies who are both lawyers. And we entered the EEPF program in 2014. I heard that some of the gentlemen in the crowd were talking about how there's not enough marketing about this. I honestly can't remember how I first heard of it. I think I received an email perhaps of an invitation. And I couldn't believe that the program was calling on people who didn't have properties experience or any background to come and be developers. And I was so excited because at the time I'd built 2 houses, the ones that I lived in. And I thought this was my passion, I understood this. So of course, before I learned about SDPs, parking ratios, and the community, to know that this person called the community can actually close your site. We have our development in Olivenhout-Bosch. Okay. And it is an 88 apartment building, split into 58 2-bedrooms and 31 bedrooms. The rental goes around 4,200 for a 1-bed and 5,200 per bed. So now I think you can see it on the screens. I'd like to believe that we put up a product that you can find in either Fourways, Midrand, or any of the prestigious suburbs. We put it smack in the middle of Olivenhout-Bosch, which is a township. We got such raving success in terms of tenanting this property, and it is really our pride. We have 24-hour security, Wi-Fi, and we have full-time cleaning and maintenance crew on site. This is extremely important in terms of attracting tenants, in keeping your property to look as pristine as the day they came in. The total project cost was around 34 million, approximately. We broke ground in the end of May 2016, and we completed in June 2017. I think that was record timing. Even though this was such a good experience, and I mean, the building is now standing, it was quite a hassle to begin. And GPF was saying that they really give you so much support in terms of finance, but there is nothing like trying to raise equity when you are starting a development. In our case, we literally had to take a second mortgage. We had to borrow from friends and family. We really liquidated our savings, and it's extremely uncomfortable to live without any emergency fund. To invest in this thing, which is like a long-term investment. So raising equity is extremely difficult, and you can't even go back to your finder, especially when they've already given you so much concessions. And after signing everything that you own, and you come and you say, okay, now we're finally ready to go on site. And then you encounter community. It is really, really difficult to understand how you have to be considerate to a group of people who come and say, okay, we're here, we want jobs, we want this and that and the other, and you just want to say, do you know what I went through to get to here? But we had such a raving success with our engagement with the community. We learned that to engage your local structures, the political people, the political leadership there, and the ward councillors to have good communication really goes a long way. We appointed a community liaison officer who was such a young person, but was on top of everything. And that's the only way we didn't have any stoppages on our site because of community issues. The third issue, I almost left out the challenge that we had, not because it's something that we would want to hide, but it was such a harrowing experience. 6 months into construction, we received a call that there had been a fatality on site. And if we had done a SWOT analysis on all the weaknesses or all the threats, I would never in my wildest dream have listed fatality as one of them. Going bankrupt and GPF taking my house, definitely, but never something as devastating as a fatality. We were stopped for about 5 days whilst the Department of Labor did an inspection. And the only reason we were able to continue after the 5 days was because we had complied with all our safety regulations. We had appointed safety officers. We had training, and all our training was documented. And we had informed the Department of Labor before we went on site. So they came, they did their investigations, and we were able to proceed. Obviously, with very heavy hearts, we had to grow up very quickly and liaise with the family. And it was quite a sobering experience. One other issue was the stagnation of our rental escalation. So I said we completed in 2017. 2017, going to 2018, we were able to increase our rent as per our projections. As you can see on the graph, we project the blue line. We had projected about an 8% increase every year. Come 2018, the economy wasn't doing very well. 2019 as well, so it remained flat. And I don't think we have to explain what 2020 brought us. We then also experienced a relatively high turnover. We had actually started as a cleanup of defaulting clients, but only to be then hit with COVID-19, and our turnover became quite high. We had obviously increased vacancies. We usually would have around 1% to 2% vacancies, shot up to around 12%. That was quite jarring. And we worked very closely with the GPF. I think, as Ndate Godfrey said, come to us and talk to us. We went to them, we explained, we showed him our numbers and everything, and they were very forthcoming and to assist us. So we had like a big jump in arrears from around March 2020. We're now tracking back to around the levels that we are used to. We had about 2 or 3 absconding tenants. I think when you go into things like property development, you see all sorts of things. I never knew somebody could leave their furniture and everything and just leave and never come back. Luckily, they didn't leave the kids with us. So, where to next for Phahamo? The fact that we can even talk about a where to next means that they got free, we are clients in good standing. So, we have a second development plan for Mabupane. We're growing because Oliven was 88 apartments. We're now planning to build 115 apartments. 97 of them will be 2-bedroom units, 18 will be 1-bedroom units. And the total development cost will be approximately 51 million. After years and years, we finally found approval of our senior funding from the NHFC. I know that the gentleman there was also complaining about how long it can take to raise the senior funding. Aspari had really spoiled us. But we do have that senior funding approval. We had an expression of interest from the GPF. We're just tweaking a few numbers here and there. Hopefully we will get our final approval and maybe break ground in April, May. That is all from us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mabana. That is very insightful information, and I'm glad a lot of developers on the floor can either relate or are learning something from you. I'm going to proceed with the second speaker, and I think at the end, when everyone has had an opportunity, we will take questions. Is that fine? So can I keep you on the stage? Right, thank you. Next, I will invite Jacques de Klerk to talk more about the mega project that they are involved in. Jacques, over to you.
Hi, morning, everyone. When I got a call last Sunday night from Malusi Sele, you'll notice I'm definitely not a Sele. Saying, Jacques, I need you to go and do this for us. I said to him, sure, no problem. It's right up my alley. Just remind me what GPF is again. You know, Malusi, I've told you many times, when you give me directions, don't use words like east and that. Just tell me, first stop. So I'm going to really try and do my best. I have to also make note of some of the things I heard today. We're a mega city and we're huge. I'm going to show you a drone video now of the site. And there were a couple of comments today like GPF paying on time. That is true. That is so true. I have a lot to do with that side. Before I get into it, because I'm involved with the CFO of the company and I'm involved with beneficiaries, which wouldn't have come up necessarily in yours, but I am going to be involved in SHRA. So I learned a lot from you today because we've got SHRA, we've got FLISPs, and we've got BNGs. So I hope I can add some value there. Just to give you a little bit of insight, we broke ground. You can actually see our little site offices at the bottom there. In November 2017. With a mega project, yes, we can talk about police stations, sports grounds, garages, all of that. But I'm just going to focus on where we are now and then take you to the challenges we've experienced. And I'm going to be very honest with you. A lot of these challenges, when I got involved with KELP developments, came at the time COVID hit us dead square center. And we had about 1,500 BNGs ready. And we were told in the middle of COVID, move 1,500 people into these BNGs. So this is where what our initial project is. As you can see, it's big. It's 5,206 BNGs. It's 1,141 FLISPs, which has been discussed today, and then your rental units. So this is where we currently are. We've built so far out of this project 3,774 BNGs, of which we didn't get to the 1,500 mark. And you'll understand when I get to the challenges in that and some of the reasons. We've moved into that 1,428 as of today. And we've still got 1,269 planned for this financial year to move in beneficiaries into those units. We've already built 373 of those finance link stands, which are fully serviced and ready. And our SHRA, our rental units, they're in the pipeline. Approval is the words the guys on site use. This is just a little bit of a video. You can see it starting. So this will be a total of 13 full blocks. And this is just the BNGs. As you can see how the drones just moved along the site. This is all what's built already. And we'll get to the side on the far right where it's going to be where we're still building the FLISPs and where the SHRA will be. You can see just from the pictures in the middle there how big the site office has grown. So your organization, your staff and everything grows with the project, and you adapt accordingly the whole time. You have to adapt and you learn skills. The one thing that I really liked what Lindiwe said today, because that's probably been one of my biggest frustrations, and it's a frustration because you're learning, is your IGR. I cannot tell you, anyone getting involved in a mega city, how important that is going to become. The link between human settlements, GPF, and the municipality, because at the end of the day, and this is where I think you wanted us to try and add a bit of value today. That link is so important. And I'm just going to go through them very, very quickly. The infrastructure, it's fine. You've got a mega city to build. You're going for it. Can the municipality, do they have the capability at that infrastructure level? Because you can go ahead and build and later find out, the water's not right, there's not enough pressure. The sewer, the current sewer for that project and the related surrounding areas, once that project's built, are the bulk services, was the term used today, is that going to hold? Is it ready? And the electricity. And when I come back to water and electricity, I'm going to jump a little bit around, because there's one thing, if you have a look under beneficiaries, there's a last point there called sectional title blueprint. If you get into a mega city, you're going to become very, very involved in that. And when you're planning and you're doing all these engineer drawings, etc., for your bulk services, you need to take the way you plan, or your engineers plan those bulk services. How are they going to relate and fit into a sectional title scheme? From a financial point of view, managing prepaid meters versus deregistered meters, because these sectional titles will have body corporates formed. And you can see just this project's going to have literally 13 body corporates when it's finished. So on the municipality infrastructure, definitely ensure water, electricity, sewer, ensure everyone understands it, the planning, are they going to be there? And that's where the relationship with the municipality is extremely important. Beneficiaries come and go. They need those accounts opened for the electricity, for the water. How's that going to be managed at a body corporate level? You know, once you're there, now the body corporate has to be formed. It's going to become your responsibility as a developer to assist and get those body corporates formed. Make sure you understand that. I'm learning every day and I'm still confused. And if it wasn't for the support of people from the GPF and the relationships with the municipality, I'd probably not be sitting here and be able to tell you that today. I must be blatantly honest. So when I was called onto the CAL project, they said, Jacques, come and assist. I'm a business consultant by trade, and a labor consultant is my other day job. You're the best person for the HR of the site. You can see where I'm sitting now. Once you've built, you're going to get very involved, if you're involved in a mega project, with moving beneficiaries. Understand how the allocations work, how human settlements wants certain ages in certain places, how a person is here today and approved as a beneficiary, and tomorrow that person could have passed on, or you can't find that person, they disappear into cyberspace. What does that do? You've got empty units. I remember in one of the presentations this morning, someone spoke about invasions. It's a reality, and it's a massive reality. Be ready to manage it, because if you think it's not going to happen to you, you've got a surprise. By liaising with human settlements, the municipality, there are absolute ways to avoid it. We've had in this project, and you can see how big it is, a total of 3 which were managed in a space of 72 hours, simply because of relationships and ensuring when beneficiaries and units are ready, beneficiaries are moved into those units. Don't delay. You mentioned the community. There is a whole community there of beneficiaries that have got skills. Find those skills, they are there. And by trying to utilize the beneficiaries for skills, you employ the community, you get the community on your side, avoid having your site closed, because the community needs work, especially this work play type concept. It becomes extremely important. Access control. So in a mega city, you're always building, but while you're building, you're going to also be moving in people. Health and safety, you had a fatality. I'm in a privileged position to say, as of October last year, we've got a very, very strong health and safety manager on the site. We were presented with 1 million hours without a bad incident last year, October. And it's solely by sticking to the rules. He's extremely strict. He'll stop the site for an hour until he's happy with the scaffolding. Yes, it's an hour of productivity versus being 5 days closed. That's the sort of stuff that becomes important. Then keeping your construction site as people are moving in, and your beneficiary access control, keeping them away from your site. There's lots and lots of children. We know from a factual point of view that for each beneficiary, there's approximately between 3 and 5 people in that household. And that household of the 3 and 5 people could consist of 3 children. But you've got construction, you've got this used plant equipment running around. These are things to consider. So we constantly, as the site develops, we're moving our fences, and at the same time, constantly communicating with the community and the beneficiaries. We have a bulk SMS system going where when we find out the municipality's got a water leak, it affects that entire site. So you saw 1,400 people. You can times that by 3, a rough figure. And that'll tell you where you're sitting, that people could go without electricity and water. We have communication. We immediately let them know, communicate with the community. It works. It really, really works. And then the access control, telling them from this day, you will only have access to your units from this side, etc. Subcontractors, we brought up, and that came up, and I'm so glad to hear it with regards us wanting to look at the fairer sex, if I can put it like that, and that it's awesome. Now, I don't think Lindiwe brought it across strong enough. And I'm going to say it out, GPF is on top of us, and it's a good thing. I brought up MDP stats there. GPF is asking for stats on every subcontractor, every single month, proof that that person exists. And they're not just accepting stuff, they're looking at it, and it's right. It's right. Your community wants employment, and this is the way GPF is doing it. So don't let them tell you they're busy implementing it. Not true. They are there. Is there a couple of kinks along the way? Yes. Sometimes the way it's portrayed to you and your understanding of it and how they want it, yes, you're going to have those differences, but it is working. Let me tell you where I've found it really good from my side is understanding my site better, because at one stage when Elijah Barayi first started, there was about 139 subcontractors. How in heaven's name do you control that? You know, you've got to have some good IT systems put in place. So that becomes very good. The municipality helps you with these subcontractors. They have a system going where people given a list and they say, we this, and we get the CVs. Constantly look at those subcontractors. One of our biggest things on EPV is developing a subcontractor. Then I just want to go to the third point after selection criteria, negative cross-pollination. In any business, anywhere, you're going to have good and bad people. You're going to have skilled and unskilled people. One of the things that happens with subcontractors, you know, it's like a soccer team. When the soccer team's bad, the first person they get rid of is the coach. Yes, in the subcontracting point of view, you also have bad workers. So what happens if you don't have proper access control and proper systems? And this is where when GPF implemented the MDP, I think, and I stand corrected, it was October, November last year. Am I right, Shiraz? So November last year. It was a massive eye-opener for me. We don't have a 2 million rand access system for people coming onto site. We have a straightforward register. How do you monitor those registers? What I then picked up is, so we've got rid of, you get good people, bad people. Some subcontractors disappear into the sunset. It's normal attrition. But those bad workers go on to work for other subcontractors on the site. Therefore, your quality that was bad with a subcontractor still remains bad because those people have just moved on to the next subcontractor. This helps you stop it, the MDP system. Why? Because suddenly I pick up the same ID number and that coming up at different contractors. And then I said, but he worked for this contractor and this contractor was asked to leave site for whatever that reason may be. And he was supposed to take his staff, etc., with him. Use that system. Yes, it can be incumbent, etc., but once you've got it under control, the system actually helps you. When I remember when we first got that email from GPF, I said, it's impossible, can't do this. It's working. I can tell you it's working, and it's going to show you clear stats with regards women and disability, etc., and give you a very good idea. You may think you're doing well with the local community. You may think that you're doing, that there's always this 30% talk. Okay, you may think you're there until you start seeing those stats, and then it really shows you. Source of skill, again, a lot of subcontractors we know with xenophobia and that in our country manage that because they're cheap labor. And the local community, don't think for 1 minute they don't know about it. They know more than we know as the contractor. Utilize them, they will. That relationship, I cannot explain to you how important it is. And then get ready to deal with those local business forums, because there's 20 or 30 of them popping up every day and they all claim to be representing the community. Again, make sure the Department of Human Settlements, the municipality are involved. This whole IGR was such an eye-opener for me today. And I thought I was doing well. I know we can do better. And then you did bring up the financial cash flow. That becomes extremely important. From our development point of view, we're a self-funded developer. So Kunay and Malusi are always looking at that because you get paid by milestones and that sort of stuff. And so you've got to plan very, very carefully because you have a staff to maintain and there are certain budgets that have to come out from a government level, etc. Make sure you understand those and plan accordingly. Otherwise, I can tell you it's great fun and I learn every single day with all its trials and tribulations. I hope that gives you a little bit of insight into a big mega project.
Thank you, Jacques, for that information. I'm sure the audience is wondering how Malusi became so fair and light-skinned. So I forgot to mention that Jacques was standing in for Malusi. I was tempted to ask the acting DDG earlier, what exactly it contextualizes mega city projects. So I think you've given numbers to the idea, and it looks like quite an intricate wave of activities to navigate. So I hope that we are also learning from the audience. And again, I'd ask us to reserve our questions for the end. I'm now going to call on our last speaker as a beneficiary, Mr. Mulalo Tshitema from the OPAL. I was also, before we welcome him on stage, I would like to mention a noteworthy point that the project has been awarded the SA Property Investor of the Year award. So clearly you're about to hear about very good work.
Thank you very much. Firstly, I would like to greet everyone. It's an honor for me to be here in front of everyone. And I would like to say, if it was not GPF, I will not be here today. When the MC announced my name, which is Mulalo Tshitema and Patricia Tshitema, she's around. She's just not here because of her character. She's a very strong character. And to be her partner for me is a big blessing. Reason why I'm saying that, she's not here because there is no need for her. And I know wherever I'm stuck, I look after her, and that's where you will see her. If I can just start, just to indicate how strong she is, when we were starting the project, like what she said, community was a big issue. And that's where I knew her for the first time. I've been with her for almost 13 years now, but when we were starting, she showed her character. She jumped in front of me. She approached the municipality straight herself. I was afraid. I even sit in the car. She went and said, I need to speak to the municipal manager. The community is stopping my project. And she managed to pull all the problems that were happening because of the community. And for her not to be here, it doesn't mean she doesn't value this. I believe she sees the potential that I must push what is possible, but she is looking after anything that is happening on the project. This project I consider her as the heart and the brain for Bono. Bono is the vendor name, simply means vision. This project, this company was opened 2018, and it was something that I wanted to do from back then, but I didn't have any cash or any means until I found out that there is funding opportunities. And when we were together with my partner, we said, let's try to explore everything we can. We try all the banks, we try all the funders. All of them, they wanted 40%, 30%, we couldn't make it. But we finally come to GPF, and they look at our project, and it was amazing. The response was very quick, and we were approved. Further than that, they even help us to submit to a senior funder, which in no time, within 2 months also, we were approved. So with that, I would like to say, definitely GPF, we applaud you. We saw that you are there to serve the people, and continue doing that. Just to give you the timeline for the project, which will align with what I was saying about GPF. This is our first project, waiting for more to come. The project is about 94 two-bed units. So the timeline started there where in 2018, we just attended a seminar where they were teaching us about the property development. And then February, we went to look for the area and found this area in Naturena. We signed the OTP. In March 2019, we lodged the application to GPF. April, we got a letter of interest. Final approval, we got it in August 2019. From there, GPF assisted us to find the senior funder, which was Future Growth. In September, they approved. And then we were just still sitting with the OTP. We didn't have money to purchase the land. Now the biggest challenge was, where do we find the land? Now we have the proof that we have 90%, we have the money to build, but we don't have the land. So we try everything we can. Like they always say, where there is a will, there is a way. We take whatever we can. We refinance our houses. I went to a point of resigning and take my pension. We went and talked to the friends who gave us some money. And just a week before the OTP expire, when the landowner has already told us, I found another buyer. If you don't give me my 5.6 in a week's time, the deal is off. And it happened just a week before we managed to secure the land, and we were ready to begin. It was towards this December 2020 when we managed to buy the land. But then when we were just about to start, there was a challenge of COVID. We couldn't go full force. Construction was still banned. So we have to delay a bit. And that has an impact on the now price of the material. So when we go back, when we finally go to site to say we're starting, when we revised the number, they were not matching. We were now almost 10 million under budget. We had to sit with the professional to say, what do we do? Let's revise. Let's see what we can do. We change the building, we change the structure, we do some engineering there and there. so that we can be within the budget. Our team managed to do that. And then in February 2021, we went to the site for the first time. And then as we were there, the community came. And that's when the real life started. They stopped us, they said, no way, you cannot build. For 2 weeks, we couldn't do anything. That's where she came in, she said, no, we cannot be stopped by this. Let's do whatever we can. She went to the municipality, she asked to talk to the municipal director. They talked to her, they listened to her, they said they will talk to the people. Further that, try to find all the structures around the business forum, the political structures. We engaged all the structures. We went, we talked to them, they back us. And then we sit with the business forum of the area. We said, what can we do? We don't want to stop. Once we start now, we want to go straight. We came with the strategy with the business forum. And then out of 11 blocks we were building, we said we are dedicating to the community. We need a proper companies from the local that can build. We will give them 5 blocks to build, but based on the approval of the quality of the first one. So they will build the first one, we will inspect it. If we are happy, we'll give them the second one. And that helped. We managed to employ about over 150 people from the local who were working there. From February until we finished, the project never stopped because we were now working with the community, the business forum, the political structure. They were helping us. One thing that make this project to go as fast as we can, like everybody was saying, when it comes to payments, I don't recall any payment that took more than 7 to 14 days for payment. Once we send the claim, it was paid. If it is not this week, we know next week it's automatic, we'll have the money. And that keep our contractor and all the professionals happy. And there was a competition to complete the job in time. For that, we really applaud the GPF and the team. As I've indicated from the beginning, the size of the project is 94 two-bed units. It's going to host about 376 students. And then we have managed to raise 5.9 million. And then we were funded by both Future Growth and GPF. And then we completed the project. Today, as we were eating there, I was just told we received our final payment. Next week, on the 1st, GPF is coming to open the project. The project is doing very well. We have started marketing, and on Facebook status, we have already reached over 1,600 followers, with the student interest of over 500 who have already filled the form that they want to be on site. Currently, we have 2 weeks operating. We are already nearly 50% of the students who are on site. This is just to give you the picture from the day one until we finish. That was 2020 November when we went for a site handover to the contractor. And then 15 December, the site was looking like that. 7 December, you can see 15 January 2021. 15 January, I'll never forget that the day we were stopped. And then we came back 2 weeks later after we had been stopped. We started to do the real work now, the foundation. February, We're still busy trenching. I was busy there with them when we were doing the foundation. The reinforcing happened from March. 30 March there. Just for interest sake, as I was there almost 3 days a week, and I was doing calculation how many bricks they were building, and I've realized they were building about 15,000 bricks late in one day. That was the record that was done. So we had about 35 contractors that were working on site. So over 150 people employed there, 90% purely from the community. On the 20th of April, we had 5 blocks already standing. Mind you, we started in February. May, we started putting the slab for the first 5 blocks. That was in May. In June, July, we started roofing the first 5 blocks. The electrical plumbing started in July. August, 5 blocks were fully completed now. And the 6 blocks were fully completed in November 2021. This is how the blocks look inside. So fully from November to 15th December, by the time they close, they have finished the remaining 4 blocks. So we have a total of 11 blocks. This is now how it looks in January. The grass is now looking very good. And just to give you most of the challenges I've already talked about, but I have put this to be at the last just to brief you again to say, yes, we have achieved this, but it was not an easy ride. Raising the equity, as I've mentioned, it was a challenge. We almost lost the land, as I've indicated. Project was stopped for 2 weeks. And then we have a challenge of shortage of building material. And in that case, I remember we stopped for nearly 2 weeks. The contractor said they went everywhere. They couldn't find any brick. I had to move around. And luckily, 3 kilometers away from my house, I found a brickyard. And they said they have over 1 million bricks. So I secured the deal with them immediately. I said, we need over 1.4 million bricks to build. We need the whole million from you. And then I just tell the contractor, he went and secured the bricks from the guy. And then that's how we managed to overcome the issue of bricks. And then the success of the project, this project was scheduled to last over 18 months. We finished this project in 10 months. The project, more than that, we had a shortfall because of the COVID, but we managed to have a little bit of savings when we finish now, which help us now to do some final touches which were out of budget. The excellent turnaround time of payments from GPF also help us to achieve the project completion in time. This project was nominated and broadcasted on the Property Game Show, DSTV channel 176, somewhere around August last year. And because of that, it was well known to a point that it was nominated to enter Property of the Year investor for 2021 last year, and we managed to win it. And I would also like to say it was also because GPF was behind us. The marketing team for GPF was doing amazing things. They were advertising everywhere. And for that, we managed to win and get the prize. We've got the trophy. And on the first, when we open, CEO, you will see the trophy. This is just a video of the kids who are there. We are having nearly 150 students now. They are happy. Me and my wife, we have a new name. When we entered there, they called us Mr. and Miss Opa. I thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Mulalo. That is incredible feedback, and I am sure as the GPF team, you are also proud to be sitting here and looking at everything that has been accomplished. I am cognizant of time, but I would at this stage like to invite the floor and the audience to ask questions for our beneficiaries. So I'm going to hand over the mic again. And if you can show with a show of hands, if you have a question for any of the beneficiaries. Come on, I'm sure someone down there is interested to see or know how these intricate projects are pulled off. I see a hand. Please, can we get a mic? Dumisho or Paul, is there anyone able to assist with the mic? Oh, there we go. Thank you. It was an interesting concept that also kept coming up, which I wanted to touch on while we wait for the question. The idea of the intergovernmental relationships and how these fast track the delivery of developments. So I'm sure all of you as the beneficiaries and anyone sitting on the floor is excited to hear that there will be an enhanced and integrated interaction between the different entities that have to come together for these developments. Okay, then I'll hand over to you for the first question.
Thank you. It's not a question, it's a comment to say congratulations to all of you. We're really proud of you because, you know, it's good to see people of color like us that are doing it and making it and giving us hope that we all can do it as we're sitting here. Because the most challenge that we have as small businesses is finances. And I remember when Leah, it's just that it was finished, it was closed for questions, because she mentioned that their deliverables are based on the applications that they have. And the most challenge is you don't see most of the applications coming forward is the eligibility of us as small companies to actually make sure that our balance sheet is good. And it brings up questions of joint ventures. When you look at, have you guys got in as joint ventures or you decided to get in as individuals into this project as an alternative in order to get possible finance? Because when you look at yourself as an individual, sometimes it becomes harder to go and get these finances. Maybe the alternatives is to look at us as we're sitting as small companies and say, what can we do as a joint venture? Is there alternative that we can come up with? But we really congratulate you. And we're saying we're here as subcontractors. My company is in solar energy, and we put solar geysers in human settlement and solar lights, street lights as well. So we're here to learn from you guys, and we're saying well done to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there another question? While we look into the hands, I have not neglected the people on the virtual platform. So if there are any questions or any comments coming from the virtual platform, please make use of the chat box and we will display them on the screen. Well, and that, with that said, I'm going to come back to the floor. Do we have any more questions? Anyone have any interest on anything that's been shared? And do we have any questions from the virtual platform? Okay. All right, I will give you an opportunity. Yes, you can go for it, Lindy. Can we please have the mic here at the front for this?
Thank you so much. I also want to echo my sentiments in congratulating our developers. One thing that I forgot to mention also was our quest to really become efficient in terms of digitization process. We are going live on the 1st of April, on the 1st of March, with our loan management system, just to make it easier for developers to interact with us without that human interface, but through the digital platforms where we expedite and improve. And I'm quite chuffed to hear that our turnaround times, we can always improve, of course, it's a continuous improvement issue. But I just wanted to share that we will be going live on our loan management system as well.
Okay. Okay, I have one question coming up, two questions at the back, so we'll give it to.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Victor Makhakhe from Muma Investments. Just a quick question to the developers. I just want to know that in terms of making sure that you just continue this, culture of empowerment, are you looking into mentoring other developers and also, assisting them in terms of knowledge and also experience based on what you've gathered up to so far? So are you looking into helping other developers to achieve that which we have achieved so that they don't encounter challenges or problems that you've encountered, just to give them, to share your experience so that they don't step into stones that you've stepped into, to help them avoid that?
Okay, thank you. I think I'm going to pick on a person to just share what they're doing as a form of empowerment in their organization. Mabana? I like the ladies today.
Well, having completed our first development, I think I'm still in a process of learning myself. And I think I would like to get formal education as well. I mean, I mentioned that I'm a lawyer. So I would also like to get some property related formal education before I can try and mentor anybody. We got a lot of support ourselves from GPF as EEPF. They had induction sessions for us. They called us a lot. We had to sit down. We were allocated mentors to take us through the entire process. So I would say that definitely in the form of lessons learned and everything, if I were to meet anybody who wants to get into the space, I would give invaluable information, because your first development teaches you a lot. So if I were to meet anybody who wants to get into the sector, I definitely, from personal experiences, would have something to impart. But I don't think we would, aside from taking professionals who are like architects using other professionals, I don't think right now we have anybody that we are mentoring. Okay. But after the second one, I promise you, we'll be able to be in a position to take somebody under our wing.
Okay. Jacques, would you like to jump in? Oh, no, Mulalo, go.
Thank you for that question. That is an extremely valuable question. I want to be in a position not to sound arrogant, but we've actually, just off the top of my head now, there's about 4 subcontractors on site that are actually eventually going to leave us, probably in the next 36 months, that are going on to form their own development companies. So how does that work? And I keep saying Kunai and Malusi, they're extremely stringent on this sort of thing. In certain terms, they take no crap. The development of people from their point of view is sometimes more important. And often our project to a point has even slowed down a little bit because, you know, you're chasing targets. So don't think for 1 minute, developing a mega city, you haven't got targets and there's not pressure to meet those targets. It's there every single day. The problem is you also don't want to get into a situation where you're making mistakes, training people. And that's where your structure of your supervision, you call it your top 10, subby, etc., comes into play, and what projects or work or task related issues you allocate to those people, and you eventually quickly pick up who are your good subcontractors and you develop them. We've had subcontractors, and I'm not joking, that started there as a bricklayer that have turned into their own little company now as a subcontractor. And there's one subcontractor in November last year, we had to have a performance discussion with him because he's got too many projects now. And he started at EBV just with bricklaying. So now he's having to start to make decisions now. So it's extremely important. But your organigram, how that works, is extremely important. It's no good you have an unskilled subcontractor supervising an unskilled subcontractor. So use the skill to develop the skill. And it works. I mean, if I just see what we call first and second fixes, and that's just the plumbing. Some of these guys are getting jobs elsewhere in Carltonville, right up to the Vaal Triangle already, just based on that. But your organogram is extremely important. And again, community based.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that, Jacques. I'm going to take one last question from the floor. It came up at the back there. Then I'm going to invite our deputy chairperson to give the vote of thanks. Okay.
Can I just add?
Oh, sorry.
Okay. I just wanted to add on what are we doing as Bono. That is the answer that I know Patricia would like to answer that. But let me talk on her behalf. What she has done, she has just resigned from her normal day-to-day job. And part of what she's going to do is to offer training. She has a sort of a training center ready. And one thing that is out of the box to GPF, Bono Opal is not just a student house. It's a training center. We have a program that will show you next week for student life. Part of student life is that we will host events in the hall where we'll be training them also on property development. And our goal is before some of them graduate, there should be some of beneficiary of GPF funds. What drives that is that we realize that even those students are getting funds to go to school, there is a problem out there now. We have over 80% graduates who are not working. So how can we help to sort out this problem? So we are saying, yes, you are studying for your career, but let us give you another skill that might help you by the time you graduate, you are not finding anything, then you already have a project that is generating cash, or you rather change and use property development as your focus.
Right. I think without any further delay, I will now call upon our deputy chairperson at the GPF, Mr. Silo Miraro, to conduct the vote of thanks. And we can also release the beneficiaries. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to stand before you to do a closing remarks. My name is Dada Morero. Sello is my real name, but I prefer to be called Dada. I once proposed a girl when I was younger, and I told her my name is Sello. But when everybody was calling me Dada, she said I lied, and as a result, she declined my proposal. So please call me Dada. On behalf of the Gauteng Partnership Fund, I would like to express our utmost appreciation for your attendance and participation today. We certainly value your feedback and concerns, and your concerns are noted, and we'll continue to engage with those concerns. The objective of this event today was to reconnect with you as stakeholders and build a consistent and a beneficial relationship. Our marketing, communications, and stakeholder unit has planned more engagements with you, as you would know that we'll soon be celebrating the 20th anniversary of the GPF. The intention of this engagements is to ensure that as both government and the private sector, we can work together with the intention to contribute positively to the development of our province and our country, in particular in the property market. Ladies and gentlemen, the Board of Trustees of GPF has committed itself to positioning the GPF as the key ingredient in the Gauteng Department of Human Settlement service delivery performance. We want to meet and extend our targets by implementing more mega projects and release more service stands to allow communities to own property in our province. Acknowledging, of course, that our province is the smallest province which does not have enough or sufficient land parcels. We are committed to contribute to the creation of employment and ensuring that the bulk of the total dispersed project expenditure is used on SMMEs and historically disadvantaged individuals. In particular, we want to see a great number of women-owned entities entering the market and being given support by the GPF. In her presentation earlier, the CEO, Ms. Lindiwe Kwele, spoke to the new mandate, the mandate of upgrade of informal settlements, which is currently being entrusted to GPF. We have put in place implementation protocols, and of course our task now is to ensure that the program is realized within the remaining term of this government and live up to the expectations as a partner of choice of the provincial government. This also comes for the completion of units within the central, the rental, social housing and student accommodation programs. The GPF Board of Trustees is confident that we now have the requisite skills and leadership to implement all our priorities. It is also important to note the discussion raised today around contributing towards the study, contributing towards studying the market so that we can assist developers with the studies so that they could know what is required and what is needed. So it's an important discussion that we have taken from today's discussion, and we will have an intense discussion as the board and management of GPF. I would like, therefore, to wish the CEO, Ms. Kwele, and her executive management team, as well as the entire staff complement at the GPF, the very best in this regard. Thank you to our program director, Ayanda Magqaza. I hope I've pronounced it well. If I've not, let's just limit it to Ms. Ayanda. for her sterling work today in programming and steering the ship this morning. Ra leboha. I need to present something to you. I wish this meeting happened on the 14th of February. It would have been very relevant.
Thank you, Deputy Chair.
We want to thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you to your team. Thank you.
I'm very honored. And once again, Ms. Ayanda, my name is Dada. Of course, we'd like to extend our gratitude to our main stakeholders who are here today, the Gauteng Department of Human Settlements, for the support and cooperation we've received, and thank the acting DDG Pumzile, who's here with us today. Thank you for your presence and your valuable contribution to this event. We continue to operate in a tough environment, but the Gauteng Department of Human Settlements support of the GPF has not wavered. We appreciate this tremendously. Thank you to the GPF board, to the board members or trustees who are present at this event and those who are attending virtually. Chairman. Finally, we want to thank you, our stakeholders, for the role you have played and continue to play in the delivery of our mandate. We look forward to working with you in the future. Let me say, transforming the market requires that we contribute, and we are deliberate in as far as ensuring that we make resources and funding available to the previously disadvantaged. So we are here as GPF and would want you to make use of us, knock on our doors, harass us, and make sure that we respond and make resources available. And our task is to grow entrepreneurs so that Black people can now own property in this country. Until next time, please travel safe.
Thank you, Deputy Chair Dada. I am sure not to forget this name. Thank you for that closing. And I guess that marks the sharp ending to our occasion today. Thank you for having me as a host. I'm going to enjoy those beautiful flowers, even though they come after Valentine's, but they are still welcomed. As I was sitting there, I received a message which I think captures the ethos and the importance of a day and an occasion like this. Someone sends a message saying, I feel encouraged to see people of color taking these opportunities seriously and embarking on uplifting local communities. I hope to see ourselves taking part in the future and coming back to deliver more stories of success. So with this, I would like to mark the ending to our day. And again, just to highlight what GPF and the Gauteng Department of Human Settlements present is an opportunity for participation. It is up to the rest of us to take up these opportunities and then come back every quarter, sit on the stage and talk about the successes. Thank you everybody for a beautiful occasion, and you are invited upstairs for lunch. I've not left anything. Oh, there will definitely be more of these occasions coming up. So keep your eye out on the social media platforms as well as the website. And for any further communication, we will put up details for contact persons within the GPF. All right, that brings us to the end. Thank you. Join us.